Welcome to this explainer. We're going to be spending some quiet time today in this really calming, vibrant garden setting just to gently walk through some steps for managing deep emotional exhaustion. If you're watching this, you might be in a place where just the thought of getting through the next hour, let alone the whole next day, literally feels like climbing a massive vertical mountain. And hey, you might not be actively planning to leave, but the sheer idea of just stopping, it feels like it would be a profound relief. So today, let's map out a clear, structured path through that heavy feeling together. Just listen to that phrase for a second, a quiet exhaustion. If just stopping feels like a relief right now, please know that your pain is deeply real. You're absolutely not wrong for feeling it. And I want to make one thing crystal clear before we go any further. We are definitely not here to force some toxic positivity on you. There's going to be no just look on the bright side today. Instead, think of this explainer as a hand on your shoulder. We're just here to sit with you in the dark for a bit and offer a few very gentle, practical steps for when you honestly just can't see the path forward. So, the very first thing we need to unlearn today is this. There is a massive, and I mean massive, difference between being broken and simply being in pain. You know how society kind of conditions us to believe that when we're exhausted and hurting, we're somehow defective? Well, it's just not true. You aren't broken. You're in pain. And when you shift your perspective from treating yourself like some sort of problem that needs to be solved, you can start treating yourself like a human being who is currently surviving a really difficult storm. Which actually brings us to this incredibly beautiful Japanese art form called kintsugi. Basically, instead of just throwing away shattered pottery, artists repair the pieces using lacquer mixed with gold. Just like our little stickman character here, carefully tending to patched pottery right among the garden flowers, your exhaustion, your deep pain, and yeah, even that desire for it all to just stop, these are your cracks. They're signs of what you've bravely endured. They are not, and honestly never have been, signs of failure. That gold, it highlights the history of the object. It proves that it survived. You see, we aren't trying to erase your history here. We're just finding a way to live alongside it. When we experience profound emotional exhaustion, it's super common to want to just rewind the clock to a time before the pain even existed. But the goal isn't erasure. The goal is coexistence. It's about learning how to carry your history and creating enough space so that maybe, just maybe, one day you'll be able to see the real beauty in the gold that fills those cracks. Now, let's talk about the future for a second. When you're in a state of deep exhaustion, the future feels like an impossible, crushing weight. So don't try to carry it. Just drop the burden of figuring out tomorrow or next year. 5. Can you survive the next 5 minutes? Because honestly, that is the only thing you have to focus on right now. Notice how incredibly manageable these tiny micro actions become when you stop committing to a whole day and just commit to 5 minutes. In those next 5 minutes, could you do just one small thing? Like, could you walk to the kitchen and grab a glass of water? Could you step outside for just a few seconds and feel the air on your face? Or maybe just put on a single song? You aren't promising to be okay for the rest of the week. You're literally just committing to the next 5 minutes. And sometimes, that is absolutely all you can do, and it is more than enough. Right now, you might be feeling completely disconnected from everything. Like you're kind of floating outside of your own life, or even your own body. This is called dissociation, and listen, it is not a flaw in your character. It's actually a biological response to overwhelming emotional pain. Your brain is literally just trying to protect you by unplugging. But to survive those next 5 minutes we just talked about, we need to find an antidote. We need to gently pull you back out of the storm in your head. And the immediate antidote to that dissociation is finding one small thing that feels undeniably real. Go straight to the freezer and hold an ice cube in your bare hand. Just feel that sharp, intense cold. Or if you have a pet, sit down and focus entirely on the warmth of their fur and the texture of their hair right under your fingers. Or even just hold a warm mug of tea in your palms. These aren't just mere distractions, they're anchors. They physically pull your awareness right out of that chaotic storm in your mind and anchor you firmly back into the physical world, even if it's just for a moment. Now, if the urge to just stop everything becomes completely overwhelming, you need to make a little deal with yourself. Tell yourself, okay, I can make this decision, but I'm not going to make it right now. I'm going to postpone it until tomorrow. By saying this, you aren't lying to yourself. You're fully acknowledging your pain, but you are creating just a little bit of space between the feeling itself and the action. Because postponing the decision isn't giving up. It's simply giving yourself another chance to take one more breath. In that small little window of time you've opened up by saying not today, who knows? A friend might randomly call you. The sun might actually come out from behind the clouds.
You might hear a song that makes you feel a tiny flicker of something else. Continuing to live when you'd really rather not isn't about suddenly finding grand, sweeping joy. Sometimes it's literally just about choosing not today.
Okay, we have to talk about the absolute hardest step, which is letting someone know you are struggling. I know it feels impossible. You probably feel like a burden, and you absolutely do not have the energy to explain everything you're feeling right now. But here's the real secret. You don't have to explain anything. Just sending 3 simple words, "I'm not okay," is enough. It's just a tiny text message, but man, it is a massive, massive step. The point is, you do not have to be alone. You can send that text to a friend, a family member, or a therapist. But hey, if you feel like you have absolutely no one else in your corner, reach out to a crisis line. The people on the other end are specifically trained for exactly this. They aren't going to judge you. Their entire job is to quite literally sit with you in the dark so that you don't have to do it alone. Reaching out isn't a sign of weakness. It is literally the single bravest thing you can do right now. Because you are so much more than your pain, and your story is still being written. As you remember that even in the darkest night, there are people holding a light for you, waiting for you to just reach out. We're going to end this explainer by asking you to take that brave step. So, will you let someone help you write your next chapter? Please share your local crisis resources in the comments below to help others around the world who are doing the exact same thing.